Welcome back to Five Ever Timepieces, the podcast where we dive deep into the world of luxury watches, discuss some of the stories behind these iconic pieces, as well as bring you guys relevant and up-to-date news from within the luxury watch world. As always, my name is Chris, and today we're talking about a brand that has, completely changed the game when it comes to modern horology. I'm talking about Richard Mille. Now, I'm pretty sure that you've seen these watches on the wrists of billionaires, F1 drivers, and practically every A-list celebrity. They look like futuristic race cars, cost as much as mansions, and have been called today's billionaires' G-Shock. But how did Richard Mille go from being a brand that didn't even exist 25 years ago to being, one of the most sought after watchmakers in the world today? Something else you could ask is, why do these watches cost hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars? And are they even worth the hype? We're going to break it all down today, so buckle up because this is going to be an interesting ride. Let's start with how Richard Mille became a watch industry powerhouse in just over 2 decades. Now, Richard Mille, the man behind the brand, he started his career in the watch industry working with high jewelry and watch companies, but it was back in the late 1990s that he had a vision. He wanted to create these watches that broke pretty much every rule of traditional Swiss watchmaking, but he wasn't interested in making, these classic understated pieces like Patek Philippe or even Vacheron Constantin. He wanted to combine the world of Formula One, aerospace engineering, and high-end horology into a single, ultra-modern timepiece. In 2001 is when he shocked the world by launching the Richard Mille RM001. This was a futuristic, skeletonized tourbillon that, like I say, it shocked the world. It was something that was bold, it was high-tech, and it was expensive. I think it was like $135,000 at launch. Most new watch brands, they take decades to establish credibility, but Richard Mille had a different strategy. He partnered with elite athletes, race car drivers, and celebrities who actually wore his watches while competing. This was something that was unheard of. Who wears a $500,000 watch while swinging a tennis racket or even driving an F1 car at 200 miles an hour? Well, Rafael Nadal did, and that's really what changed everything. All right, now let's get into the big question. Why the hell are Richard Mille watches so expensive? Well, there are 3 main reasons. You have cutting edge materials. Richard Mille uses materials straight out of Formula One and aerospace engineering. Talking titanium, lighter alloy, graphene, carbon nanotube, TPT composite materials, and even complete sapphire cases. Now, these aren't your standard stainless steel or gold watches. An example being the RM 27-01, the Rafael Nadal. It just weighs like 19 grams. This was something that was like less than the stack of 5-6 credit cards, but it's something that would withstand 5,000, 6,000 G's of force. Don't get me wrong. I think it's like between 5 and 6,000. But that's like surviving an F1 crash and still keeping perfect time. Then there's the second reason being the, the insane engineering and the movements that they have, because these aren't just luxury watches. They're micro-engineered machines. Many Richard Mille watches uses tourbillons, the ultra-thin movements. Some of them are fully skeletonized designs. And it's something that, with skeletonized designs, it pushes the limits of watchmaking. An example of that being the RM50-03, the McLaren F1. This has a split-second chronograph and it weighs like 40 grams. And this was made of I think graphene infused carbon or complete carbon, one of those two. I'm pretty sure it was graphene infused carbon. But like the third reason, like why they're so expensive, is the exclusivity and the limited production. Richard Mille only produces around like 5,000 watches a year. Compare that to, for example, compared to Rolex's 1 million plus watches. And then you see why these watches are so hard to get. They have limited editions, like the RM56-02, the Sapphire Tourbillon. This is something that's sold for like $2 million plus. And because they're so rare, prices on the secondary market can go even higher than that. The bottom line is being that Richard Mille isn't about subtle luxury. It's about being loud, pushing boundaries, and flexing your wealth, but in the most extreme way possible. One of the biggest reasons I feel that Richard Mille blew up so fast is also because of who wears them. Who wears Richard Milles? These watches are on the wrists of some of the most elite athletes, celebrities, as well as billionaires across the world. You have Rafael Nadal, with the RM27-04. This was something that was literally designed for him. He wears it while playing, and it can withstand the insane forces of a professional tennis match. Then Formula One drivers. Richard Mille has sponsorships with McLaren, Ferrari, and with drivers like Charles Leclerc. These guys wear 6-figure watches while racing at 200 miles an hour. And if there's a rapper with serious money, you can believe you have people like Jay-Z and Drake. You can bet that they probably own a Richard Mille 2, 3, or 4 of these pieces. And then there's the billionaires and the business tycoons. Richard Mille has become the ultimate flex for the ultra rich. When you see a Patek or an Audemars Piguet, it's luxury. But when you see a Richard Mille, it is some serious money. Richard Mille doesn't just sell watches. They sell that image of extreme success and exclusivity. That's why so many celebrities and athletes, are rocking these insane watches. So after all this, the big question remains: is a Richard Mille actually worth it? Is a Richard Mille worth it? Honestly, if we're talking about pure watchmaking value, you could argue that a Patek Philippe or Audemars Piguet offers up more for the price. But that's not what Richard Mille is about. If you want cutting edge materials, futuristic design, and exclusivity, Richard Mille is unmatched when it comes to those. If you want a watch that holds or tends to increase in value, some Richard Mille models have outperformed real estate and stocks when it comes to their appreciation. But if you want a traditional luxury watch, you might be better off, though, with something like a Patek Philippe Nautilus or even an AP Royal Oak. But at the end of the day, Richard Mille is for people who don't care about following the rules. It's for the billionaires, athletes, and the risk takers who want something completely different from traditional Swiss luxury. Would I buy one? If I had an extra $500,000 to burn, I'd seriously consider it. Well, that's going to wrap up today's episode on Richard Mille, the billionaire's G-Shock. They changed the watch industry with high-tech materials and their bold designs. Richard Mille is exclusive, expensive, and something that's built for the ultra-rich. They aren't for everyone, but that's exactly the point. Let me know what you guys think. Would you ever drop 6 figures on a Richard Mille? Hit me up on Instagram or wherever you follow 5 Ever Timepieces. In the next episode, we're going to be diving into the most expensive watches ever sold at auction. So I'm pretty sure you guys don't want to miss it. So until next time, keep ticking in style.